Here we go. This can only mean one thing. I'm back in the kitchen. I got this idea from a YouTube friend, kinda, I guess, Nick. NIC, Nick's Allotment. And a year ago, he did a video using tomato strainer, veggie strainer, whatever it is. I've never seen these things before, and it just blew me away. And I've been talking about it for a year. And then I grew a lot of tomatoes. So I got one of those strainers. And I have been making sauce like crazy. So I'm going to share with you whatever. This just tastes fantastic to me. It's one of the best things I've put in my mouth. And I have put some very good things in here, I will assure you. And I'll share with you, this recipe and how I make it. So stick with me, and I'll turn this around, and I'll show you what we're working with. All right. So here is the main ingredients. The star of the show is the tomatoes. I don't think it really matters what kind. Yes, there are some that are a meatier tomato. Aroma tomato has less seeds in it. You're going to have less water. That sack that around the seeds is basically like a water. You're going to end up boiling that off anyway. So yes, there are paste tomatoes that you'll have to boil a little bit less, but at the end of the day, you can use anything, big, small. It doesn't matter what color. So this is what I've got. I've got this is 20 pounds. 20 pounds. I've cut up about that much onion. So one big, British onion or whatever. I mean, a couple of Canadian ones. I don't know. And I like a lot of garlic, so I think there's probably 12 cloves there. But here's what we're starting with, and we'll show you how this goes from here. All right, friends, got a nice warm bottom of the pan there, a little bit of olive oil in there, and get those onions sweating down. So, and basically, however long it takes, 5 minutes. It doesn't take very long. I don't have it on a very high heat. And then I throw the garlic in and get that to release a little moisture. I just don't want it to burn or caramelize whatsoever. And then I try to find sort of the wettest batch of tomatoes to put in first, and I'll even squeeze some just by hand just to get some juice in the bottom so that things aren't burning and sticking. And let's see here. So yeah, now I've filled it all the way up to the top. So after it's about halfway full, it starts kind of breaking down, and I can fill it up to the top, and then here it is. So now, just put on some good music and have a bit of fun, because people can taste the love. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some long-forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I pass the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do those things we never had. I seem to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become. Time to do those things we never had. Do it, baby. Woo! Want to take away? Alright, and after that enormous waste of time, we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of sugar, a couple tablespoons of salt in there, sweeten her up a little, counteract some of that acid. What am I putting? About a tablespoon of pepper in there, more or less to your taste, obviously. This is my basil that I dried, a couple tablespoons of that. That is not my oregano. I cannot keep up with oregano in my climate. This is my parsley. Parsley grows fantastic in the Arctic Circle. What do we got here? A little garlic powder, because, 12 cloves, I don't think I had enough in there. And just kind of, whatever, mix her up. Get her in there all, whatever. good to go. Now you can really crank the heat at when you first get started, but I want you to see how on the bottom is thicker than on the top, right? So to me, it's kind of like when you're reducing down, you're cooking the moisture out of the stuff that's closest to the heat. So one thing to be aware of is when if you leave that for a while and that bottom gets kind of real thick, as soon as you start scraping that off, all of a sudden that heat comes up to the top and that pot will spit all over the place. So stir often and wear eye safety. Just speaking from experience. Like, look, I'm tired of dodging stuff, so I stick around and I stir it fairly often. The longer it goes, the more you've got to keep an eye on it. So like this has been 2 hours, I think now. You can see that it's starting to get a little bit thicker. I usually leave mine, I think, 3 hours. So there's after 3. I mean, and if I don't like that, then I'll leave it for a little bit longer. I mean, you could keep cooking this down and it's going to become tomato paste. I like the little immersion blender. I know some people like theirs real chunky. I like the fact that it looks kind of like a professional sauce when it's all blended up like that. So, I mean, from here, it's just a simple matter of canning it up, which again, if I can do it, certainly isn't rocket science. If you don't know what proper canning guidelines are, you should look it up, because you should. So, I mean, that batch of tomatoes yielded me 6.5 liters, 6.5 quarts of sauce. So that will turn into, well, double that up, so whatever, 13 liters of soup, or whatever else I choose to use it for. So if you guys like this, I appreciate it, and hope you guys have a fantastic day.